What does it mean to be a man in today's evolving world? How do we as men not only step up as men in this world, but transform the definition of masculinity itself? To be the lovers, the heroes, and the role models that the world so desperately craves. How do we begin to recreate our connection to manhood? This is that movement. We are ushering in a new generation of men and a new definition of masculine power to radically transform your sex life, your love life, your work life, and your world. I am Destin, and this is The Evolved Masculine, redefining sex, power, and success. Welcome, everyone. This is Destin with The Evolved Masculine, redefining sex, power, and success. My guest today is Preston Smiles. Well, I think you'll be able to sense something, just kind of the potency and presence of this man's energy right from the start. I think there's a reason why he has the name Smiles following Preston. Though this is just audio, you can feel that smile coming out from him. Like that's almost as if he just carries the energetic signature of joy as he walks through the world. And that's, I don't know this man very well yet, but that can't be an accident. I figure that when you have that kind of joyful way of walking through the world, something brought that about, and or it was something that was intentionally cultivated. I thought that this was something valuable to bring to all of you, because that's not most men. In fact, even that very idea of smiles, or it's like, as a man, to be a man, you don't smile, especially not too much. I mean, what are you, gay? These are the harmful notions of old paradigm masculinity that we need to be moving beyond. That to smile and to emit joy in the world, I mean, this is, it's only additive to both yourself and others. So anyway, it's a bit of an odd intro, but with that, I want to bring on Preston Smiles. Welcome.
Woohoo!
See what I mean?
Yeah. What's going on, my man? That was a fantastic intro. What are you, gay? That was great.
I grew up as a boy in this culture, and these are the things that are thrown around.
Oh, for sure. I used to say it. I used to be like, don't be a pussy. Like, don't be a bitch. Like, there's all kinds of stuff I used to say, for sure.
And what happened? What changed?
Oh, man. Lifetimes changed. First of all, to understand, for me, and this is me speaking in hindsight, all of that male bravado and that chest beating was, or not all of it, a lot of it was the wound itself. Mm-hmm. It was the 9-year-old that was traumatized when he was taken out of, regular classes and placed in special education. It was the kid that saw one too many arguments with his parents. It was all of that showing up in the space and not knowing how to be with it. It also was, point blank conditioning. Mm-hmm. It was programming and conditioning, because everybody I knew and everybody they knew, including my dad and everybody else, said that, real men don't cry, we don't show emotion, and, you play sports, and if somebody hits you, you hit them 1,000 times harder. And so that's what I grew up listening to, hearing, and operating from. And also, kids in general have a lot of energy, but especially young boys have a super amount of energy, and if that energy is not cultivated, or if one is not taught to use that in a constructive way, then it's going to come out one way or the other.
Very good point. I have this belief that you're giving me an opportunity to proselytize on that. I believe that boys, as they're entering into adolescence, need to be learning what I call their second continence. So if in toddlerhood they're learning urinary continence, in other words, potty training,
Yes.
this is their sexual continence, or I don't know, sexual training, like learning to, just as you learn to be more at choice over when you pee, rather than just like pissing everywhere because it's just fluid that wants to move through your system. You learn to be able to hold it and then go to the toilet and that whole thing. In the same way, adolescent boys need to be learning how to, well, I think of it in terms of mastering their sexual energy, but
Yes.
learning to be at choice in what to do with their ejaculatory fluid and these energies that are moving through their body. And I believe that if boys were learning this in pre-adolescent, adolescent time period, as these changes were first coming in, as this flood of hormones and shifts and ability to ejaculate, all of that was first coming in, it would completely change dynamics between boys and girls, to men and women, and our entire sexual landscape, and honestly, our cultural landscape.
Yes.
So anyway,
Yes.
you're speaking of the boys having tons of energy and needing to learn what to do with it.
Yes.
I took the relationship.
For sure, man. I completely agree.
So, Preston, who are you? Who are you in the world?
Who am I? The short, easy, fantastic answer to that is I am love. I am energy in a space. I am a reflection. I am a child of God. I am God. I am beauty. I am presence. I am peace. Now, how that shows up in the world is I would be considered a author, speaker, personal development trainer, transformational trainer, and that manifests itself through writing books, which I have one coming out December 27th with my wife called Now or Never, which is ridiculous. It's the best book I've ever written. It's the best writing I've ever done. I have another book called Love Louder. Both of these will be in Barnes & Nobles and on Amazon and all that stuff. I create YouTube and Facebook videos that are conscious content. So for me, I consider myself, I used to be a graffiti artist, and now I still am. I just do it with social media, and I do it in the name of love.
So this brought up so many questions. The first, what do you mean, I am a god? Share with us.
Well, it is my belief, it is my knowing that we can't be separate from the one, and there is only one here. That one, the knower, divine intelligence, the thing that religion tries to name, the thing that science tries to figure out, that thing that is unnameable, I believe, I know that I cannot be separate from it. And if I can't be separate from it, then I am it.
That's a big shift versus the particularly the Judeo-Christian Islamic perspectives on God and the very clear separation. There is you, and then there is the Almighty.
Yeah. I understand that. I totally get it. I was a super Christian for a long time. And there's nothing wrong with Christianity. It's, I never want to take away anybody's God, but what works for me, and my understanding, is that we are made in the spiritual image and likeness of the Most High. And that can be nothing other than pure beauty. It's perfect love. And although I don't always show up as perfect love, I still can't be separate from it. I think that the oversoul that lives within and without is always perfect, even when it doesn't appear to be. And I know this in my real life all the time. There's things that happen. There's, I get into arguments even with those who are the closest to me, like my wife. And the thing that usually comes out of that is something perfect, is something beautiful, is a new lesson, is a new place to explore. And so, whether it be a breakup or somebody leaving or somebody coming or, losing a job or losing money or whatever the case may be, if we really take a look at it, we can see that all of those things didn't happen to us, they happened for us. and that we co-created with the creator these scenarios so that we may know ourselves in our fullness and our totality.
So, very beautifully said. You're no wonder why you are a speaker and author. You certainly have a way with words. So this begs the question, how did you get here? You mentioned earlier being a graffiti artist when you were younger. You also mentioned the being taken out of your classes and put into special ed at 9 years old. And now here you are, this incredibly eloquent God consciousness individual. What the fuck?
That's awesome. Yeah, I've lived many lifetimes in this one, and many outside of this one. But this one, I'm 36 years young and getting younger every day. And a part of that 36 years, I've been down many rabbit holes, including being in a gang. By the time I was 11, I was smoking weed and joined a local gang called NFCG, which stood for Notorious Fucking Criminal Gang. And we started, because I was very brainwashed. One of the reasons why I'm so good at what I do and why I have such a passion for it is because I understand it very well from the inside out. I'm not somebody who's, quote unquote, just saw that this was an opportunity and went to try to make money at it. I'm somebody who literally lived the pain for years and years and years.
Preston, this is something that we have in common, and I understand entirely why you made a point of making that distinction, because it's something that I find very frustrating in this industry as well, and often disillusions me with this industry. Is that notion of seeing many people, including many quote-unquote successful individuals who I feel chose a business path.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's not how I got here.
For sure.
So yeah. It sounds like myself. You went the dark night of the soul path, the path of pain, but moving through pain, experiencing massive lessons through the pain. It's that whole thing. If you find yourself in hell, keep going.
Yeah.
And find yourself on the other side of it, and coming out with a lot of wisdom as a result. Absolutely.
And enough to where, because my other career, the thing that I was going for when this hit me, was acting. So I was an actor in LA, and at 25 I got sick, and I got a heart condition that came up, and they gave me some pills and said I would take them forever. And of course, me being the stubborn double Leo Cancer that I am, I was like, nope, I will not be taking pills for the rest of my life, but let me look into why this even happened. And so what I discovered was somebody handed me a book. I'm dyslexic, mildly dyslexic now. I used to be super, but it's not a life sentence for me. I know that I can change and heal anything, and so that's the process I'm in. So somebody handed me a book, and they said, listen, I know you don't read, but this may be perfect for what you're being with. And it was called Ask and It Is Given by Jerry and Esther Hicks. And within the first couple pages of the book, I read a line that said, your thoughts become things and you create your own reality. And I literally dropped the book in anger and in shock. I was 25, and I had never heard, ever heard that statement in life. And so I had a master's degree. I graduated with straight A's from Louisiana State University and had never, ever heard that my thoughts become things and I create my own reality. And so this pissed me off enough where I said, well, what else don't I know? And
I want to pause you right there, just to ask you, what caused you to believe it?
To believe that was true?
Yeah.
It rung true. See, the thing about truth with a capital T is it doesn't matter if it's coming from a bum or a president. It doesn't matter if it's coming from, a freaking, goat or, your little cousin. When it hits every single time. And so for me, this was like, wait a minute. This makes enough sense for my spidey senses to be firing at all levels right now. And so, great question. No one's ever asked me that. And so I watched a movie. I watched The Secret. It came out 2 months later. The Secret came out. So this will tell you when I was 25.
Sure.
And then I said, well, what else is out there? And I found this movie called Zeitgeist. And I went down that rabbit hole and had some new conversations around a lot of stuff. And the more and more I figured out that I had been bamboozled and lied to, and that I was a product of the system. And a lot of my friends were. I have friends in jail at this very moment. 3 weeks ago, I sent my friend $200 in jail. I have friends who are dead. I have friends who literally never left the neighborhood that I grew up in. And so I looked at that and I went, oh, it was never set up for any of us to win, including white people, not just, people who happen to be, chocolate and brown, but like it was never set up for any of us to know our own power. And so I became an angry vegan and start trying to convert everybody, and nobody would convert, clearly. And then
No, you're screaming in anger about how everyone should stop eating meat. Didn't suddenly convert everyone.
yes, exactly. So through that process, I realized that love is the actual master key to everything, and that when I tap into it, when I move from it, when I open myself to it, that in itself is enough, that I become a beacon and a light wherever I go. And that is how my way of being, my demonstration, my life can be a testimony. And people started noticing it, and they started coming to me, and they started saying, that actor guy, Preston, he's like totally like a little mini Buddha. And like they would come to me and like get coaching, which I didn't know was coaching. And I was an actor. I was on Entourage. I was on 90210. I was on a bunch of shows. I did like 50 commercials. And like I was doing that while doing this. And there was a point when I was like, oh, everybody asks the same questions because everybody's being with the same stuff. Maybe I should create a YouTube channel and call it Questions with Preston and just put out these videos talking about the stuff that everybody's being with. And that was the first iteration of what I'm up to now.
And how long ago was that?
Ooh, I'm 36. Yep, 9 years ago.
Yeah. Okay. So this has been a 9-year path, and well, if we don't count everything that went before it.
Yeah.
What have you created in these 9 years?
Ooh. A lot of love and a lot of pain, a lot of everything. I've created Preston Smiles. I see, because most people live, and I know this because I was this, most people live their lives by default. And even if they're not on default, their foot is on the gas and the brake at the same time, and therefore they leave the universe in a holding pattern. And so I went through that sort of unearthing. I went through the science of what it meant to be the best version of me, and chose 6 months of celibacy with no jacking off or anything, just to see what would happen, and what my energy levels would look like. And then in that time I was calling in the one, and I met my now wife Alexi, and got to see some parts of myself that I was still hiding out, because it's really easy to be conscious and awesome when you're single. But when you add a partner in there and somebody to reflect all of your BS, then it gets real. And so with her, she's like a conscious workout partner who I get to have sex with and kiss on.
Love that.
And so
I have one of those too.
Do you?
Yes,
Awesome.
yeah. I mean, we're engaged. I proposed in October 29th, I believe, and we're getting married this upcoming year.
Woo.
Yeah, it's the conscious workout partner. Absolutely, every day. The make out, the have sex with the make out part every day as well. So it's a win-win all around. But as you say, with the conscious workout part, while it is a win-win all around, it's not all smiles.
No.
It's a lot of it, which keeps me in it. But there is also the pain. There's also the triggers. There's also, oh wow, you've suddenly brought to light something that I didn't even know was there, and now I know it's there because I'm suddenly reacting strongly. And why the fuck am I reacting so strongly?
Yes. For sure. Yep, that is definitely. I know it well. I know it well. It's not a everyday occurrence or even a every month, but when it comes up, I'm like, oh man, there's some more work. There's some more that I get to dive into.
What if this was the new normal in your sex life? Hi, I'm Destin Garrick, masculine empowerment coach and creator of enticingdesire.com. And I'm here to tell you that yes, all of this is possible and more. Learn to become the lover that women remember, the one that she brags about to her friends. Head on over to enticingdesire.com to claim your free 24-minute introductory training to becoming the best lover she's ever had. I have 19 years of education, training, and experience in the field of sexuality, and I can tell you that I have seen complete transformations in men from the application of the simple principles presented in this video. Increases in confidence, performance, and satisfaction. With no pills required, no tricks, no gimmicks. This is an introduction to an entirely new way of being that will spark her authentic craving for you and your body. Head on over to enticingdesire.com now and evolve your sexual consciousness. What you mentioned this book that's coming out, and I'm sorry, what is it called again?
It's called Now or Never: Your Epic Life in 5 Steps by Alexi and Preston Smiles.
Wow, she's placed first. Well done.
Yeah. Yeah.
So tell us about this. Tell us what birthed it and what our listeners are going to get from it.
So Alexi and I both have been, in the transformation world for 9 to 10 years, and we got a book deal from Simon & Schuster to do solo books and to do one book together, and for now. And we decided that we were going to make this the new 4 agreements, but with a lot of tools and insights and practical things that people can use right now. Mm-hmm. And so we lead workshops all over the world. Mm-hmm. We'll be in Australia and New Zealand for the next from February to April.
I'm in Australia in January. We're just gonna
awesome.
Miss each other.
Yep, just miss each other. So we lead workshops, and in those workshops we teach some pretty profound stuff. And we decided that we were going to take the 4 major pillars that have helped us literally blow up in every sense of the word and put them into a book that's fun, that's biting, that's witty, that's, it's not like your normal self-help book. It's not just bland and like, this is what you do and this is where you go. It's like, yo, this is how humans are. This is what we're up to. This is what we're up against. This is how you be. And take this all with a grain of salt because it's just our opinion. So the book is fantastic, man. It's like I said, it's the best writing I've ever done because we have that masculine, feminine thing, and the me being a sexy chocolate African American man, and her being a Greek and German mixture, and all of the stuff. Her growing up in a small town in Erie, Pennsylvania, and going on her journey, and me growing up as an LA boy in the concrete jungle. All of those elements are in play. And both of us, we take this stuff very seriously. And it's fantastic because my first book, Love Louder, I remember I sent it in to them, to the editors, and they sent it back with basically a giant red X across it. And they said, back to the drawing board, nobody will ever understand this because it's written at such a high level. Like, because we tend to write and speak from where we're learning and forgetting that, we're 10 years into the game. And so with that first book, it forced me to make things and use metaphors and stories and really awesome. It forced me to become a better writer, period. And so with this second book, we went to Bali and we stayed there for a month, and we woke up to the sound of the cicadas in the jungle every day and jumped in the pool naked and swam and did yoga, and then got on our scooter and went to this co-working spot and wrote this book every day for a month. And so it's just, those times when you just tap in. We were tapped in for a month straight. And so it's just pure magic, man. Anybody who's looking to really take their game, life, everything to the next level and are looking for a book to support that, Now or Never is next level. And here's the crazy part. We are doing a 5-week live training on the principles, the 5 principles, the 5 steps in this book, starting in January. So anybody who buys the book before, I think, January 2nd will get that live training for free. It's $1,200. We're doing it for free. Just pre-order or order the book or buy the book and write us on noworneverthebook.com.
Wow, that's incredibly generous of you. If you're listening to this, I mean, that's a no-brainer. I mean, how much is the book going to be?
I think it's 23.
Okay, so for $23, you get the book, which itself is
Yes.
likely a life-changing experience, particularly if you really read it and really apply it. But then on top of that, you're taken step by step through a whole process by Preston and his wife. And I'm sorry, what is your wife's name again?
Alexi.
Thank you. By Preston and Alexi, so that it's not just so that you're held really
Yes.
through the process.
Accountability, man. That's the key.
It really makes a huge difference. So it's a no-brainer. I mean, fuck, I'm tempted. Why not, right?
Yeah, it'll be awesome, dude. Like we don't half-ass anything. We put our mission in our business is to give 10 times the value every single time.
Yeah, I get that one. Well done, man. So here's a question that I ask just about every guest. What do you see as the unique challenges facing the modern man today?
Unique challenges. One being that that reptilian brain is still in play. So that part of us that still, wants to protect and serve and all of that stuff in our family is still in play, but we don't have the same elements involved. So we don't need to protect our families from saber-toothed tigers and things of that nature. And so what do we do with that energy? How do we, especially now, because women are making more money and doing more than men across the board. And so that could also be difficult for a lot of people coming up.
It's extremely difficult for a lot of men, and different men are responding in different ways, including a lot of unhealthy ways, whether it's anger, resentment, or it's total collapse and withdrawing.
Yes.
So, like, what do you have to say to them? Like, what's the alternative?
Yes. So here's to me, this is the I'd say the number one thing that would support any man in this day and time is to get a crew, a squad, a tribe, a friend group to hold you accountable and to talk to. I think that one of the biggest issues that we have as men especially is that we don't talk much. We don't actually share what's going on for us. And so it just builds and builds and builds until it explodes. And sometimes when it explodes, men hit their women, or they do really stupid things, or they fight other men. And the issue is not the issue. The fighting and the thing that's coming up is not actually the issue. The issue is that they haven't been sharing. They haven't been releasing. Our emotions are fantastic, but they are the clouds and we are the sky. But most people identify as the cloud. They say, I'm depressed, I'm sad, I'm screwed up, and so remembering that and sharing, just find just 2 guys that you talk to, that you say, listen, because, it is always great when you share something with somebody and they resonate with it. There's something that happens within us where we go, hey, man, I've been struggling with this thing with the wife. And then your buddy goes, yeah, me too, man. And not that we want to commiserate in our misery, but just to let it out. I find that we just don't talk at all. And that can be a huge issue because men are in pain just like women are in pain. Mm-hmm. Men are suffering just like women are suffering. Men are probably suffering even more. Men are at the cause of all of the raping and the war and all of the stuff that's happening. And to me, that's because men are sick. It's because we've been taught for so long not to express, not to let it out, not to let the emotions complete themselves. Because that's all they want to do, just like little kids. Little kids have something happen. They go through the emotions. The emotion completes itself. They cry. They get angry. They do the thing, and then gone. Right? But men, the thing happens. They hold it in, And they hold it in and they hold it in, and then another thing happens and they hold it in and they hold it in, and another thing happens and they hold it in and hold it in, and then somebody cuts them off in traffic, and they get out of their car with a baseball bat and beat the person up.
You've nailed it. Thank you for putting that so well. It's what I see with my work is just how isolated so many men are, and the lack of being able to share or speak what's going on for them, the disconnect from their emotional body, plays a huge role of it. But in addition, it's often also a sense that like we just don't talk about these things.
Yep.
It's like men get together maybe to do things together, share a beer together, but like, we all have shit going on.
Absolutely.
And women today have done a really good job, and of course they're hardly done, but in building various forms of ways of supporting one another, as well as historically, women have been more communal and socially connected, so there's more root there. There's more history there. But I have found at times like some of the men who end up joining the Evolved Masculine Path, the men's group that I run, who I find through time, wow, like they don't really connect with other humans very much outside of this group.
Yep.
That's a systemic problem that somehow needs to shift.
Absolutely, man.
And
absolutely,
all of our screen time, our computers, our phones, etc., only seems to exacerbate the problem.
Yep. It is, because we've never addressed it, and some of us are delusional and don't even realize that there is one until it's too late. Well, it's never too late. As long as there's a breath in the body, it's never too late. I take that back. Delete. Backspace.
Delete backspace, another thing I'll pull. So so I think it's a great idea as far as getting your tribe, squad, crew, whatever, together and talking to these. But how do you do that? Like, if just because you may be listening to this podcast and hearing this, be like, okay, it sounds great in theory, but how do I bring it up to my guys without becoming the butt of their jokes instead?
Yeah, for sure. That's where bravery comes in. That's where courage comes in. It's, seeing the fear, noticing the fear, and doing it anyway. Somebody has to go first, and leaders always do. And so if you feel the call, if you're listening to this, or, if you're listening to this and you're like, yo, this is me, and I feel the call. Like I actually know that I need to express something. And I know that one of my buddies clearly is going through something because he's flipping out every time we hang out, but he never talks about what's actually happening. Then you go first. Leaders go first. You bring it up. And if those arrows do come, then cry it out and keep it moving and bring it up again and again and again. This is how I transformed my entire friend group, because I was willing to be the butt of jokes at first. And then what slowly but surely happened was those same people who made fun of me would call me on the side. Those same people who, and this was years ago. This was, 8-9 years ago. Now it's much more socially acceptable to share one's feelings than it was, 10 years ago. And so those same guys who made fun of me also called me and call me whenever something's happening. And I opened up the space for them. Yes, there was a few darts that came, but I also understood that was their mechanism for learning how to be with it. And so one of the ways is just ask questions. Ask questions and then share from where you're at. Like, yo, man, do you ever just like get sad? And the guy's like, oh, yeah, I guess sometimes. I don't know. I'm like, I definitely do. What do you think that is? I don't know. What do you think it is? Well, I think some of it is just like, dude, like, this is all there is to life. And just start it. Just see. Asking powerful questions and then sharing your truth opens up the space for other people to do the same.
Yeah, and I really appreciate the way in which you modeled that. Just like gave a very real example, not even just speaking about, but taking it on. Like here, you even fucking use these words if
Yeah.
if it's useful. I do think that that's very, very powerful and very useful for all of us. So aside from this book launch, which sounds friggin' awesome. Um, what else you got going on that's really exciting to you today?
Oh man. Well, uh, we're going to Florida tonight, actually, to go visit Alexi family and go to one of those big theme parks. I'm not sure what it is, but like, and this is also so. Step number one in the book is you always have a choice, and this is the bridge to empowerment. Step number two is be radically responsible. This is the bridge to getting unstuck. Step number three is act now. This is the bridge to breaking the cycle. Step number four is own who you are. This is the bridge to living your truth. And step number five, and this is why I bring this up, is have a blast. This is the bridge to vitality. And so one of the things that we've been absolutely clear about that has been the game changer in my entire life is scheduling in play and making sure that I and we as a unit have fun and do things as a couple that have nothing to do with work and hustle. And so making sure that we play is something that supports everything else. I find that I'm 10 times more creative. I find that lots more energy when I am in that mode more often than not, because we're all just big kids. We are. Some of us have lost track of that because we're so damn serious all the time. But if you're that serious, you've missed most of life.
Yeah, well said. Can you just give us one more rundown of what those 5 steps are?
Yeah, so step number one is you always have a choice. Step number two is be radically responsible. Step number three is act now. Step number four is own who you are. And step number five is have a blast.
Fuck yeah, well done, well done. So, any last words or things you want to say or share with our audience of listeners?
Yeah, man, I just want to remind people that paradise has nothing to do with a location, that it is an inside game. It is a conversation. It is a decision. It is a matter of what one is focusing on. And so you don't need to go anywhere or get anything. You don't even need to change what's in your bank account, let alone what's in your, closet. Or it all comes back to what are you focusing on? Because, what we focus on, we feel. What we focus on, we experience. And so putting your focus on gratitude, putting your focus on things that make your heart smile, putting your focus on loving those who are closest to you will do nothing more than create more of that. We live in an energetic universe that is always responding to our frequency. And so when you are moving from the frequency of gratitude, you place yourself in alignment with the knower, with the one, with divine intelligence.
So I'm gonna ask you again for the uninitiated, for the person who's listening, who is like, this sounds all great, but you're in it.
Yeah.
At this point, you're 10 years in. You're Preston Smiles. You live this life in this way. Live a life of gratitude. How the fuck am I supposed to do that? Shit's hard. What am I
Yeah.
supposed to be grateful for?
It can. So this is what I would say. I would say step number one is you always have a choice. And so if you can't see it right now, just reach for the low-hanging fruit that you can see. What's easy for you to reach towards that does make your heart smile? What is like a no-brainer? Oh, when I play, this video game, I have such a good time. Awesome. Reach for that. And then when you reach for that and you start doing that, then you raise your vibration just a little bit, right? And then from there, reach again. What else? What else do I do? Oh, well, every once in a while when I call my brother and I just we talk about when we were kids, that always makes my heart smile. Awesome. Reach for that, right? So now your frequency is a little higher at this point because you played the video game, you've talked to your brother, right? What else? Get into nature, drink more water. All of these things will create space for you to get to a point or a floor that feels comfortable enough for you to dive deeper into gratitude. I totally get it. You know, going from straight depression to joy is not a smart idea, and it's not really something that most people do often. But you can reach for what does feel good for you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Preston. And how would our listeners find you and find out more about you?
You could go to alexiandpreston.com or just type in @Preston Smiles on any social media platform, and you'll find me.
Wonderful. I want to really thank you for just taking the time with all of us. Do check out Preston's book one more time. What's the full title?
Now or Never, the book.com.
Now or Never, the book.com. Go check it out. Thank you again. Thank you again. And men out there, here's your assignment for the week. Smile more.
Yeah.
Really, just take this week to practice smiling. If you don't necessarily feel like you have something to smile about, doesn't matter. Just practice the act of smiling and just notice the impact that it has on you. Notice the impact it has on others. Notice the impact it has on how other people respond to you. Just play with that for a week.
Boom.
Thank you again. This has been The Evolved Masculine, redefining sex, power, and success. See you next week.